Heartwarming discovery. Millionaire reveals incredible truth of little girl abandoned in woods. Jake Thompson stepped into the soft embrace of Maplewood, his heart racing with memories, late-night bonfires, jubilant parades, and laughter spilling out from backyard barbecues. He had traded this quaint small town for the harsh concrete jungle where he built his empire, but news of a little girl found alone in the woods pulled him back like a magnetic force. Lily, that was her name, and she had become the heartbeat of a community already straining under the weight of their own judgment. As he drove through the familiar streets lined with trees dressed in golden autumn leaves, Jake noticed families gathering in the town square. He could almost hear the sound of laughter amid the murmurs of concern. Good old Maplewood, he thought, full of warmth and kindness, but as his gaze fell upon a group of neighbors huddled together, he sensed the tension simmering below the surface. Their faces, usually filled with light, were now creased with worry and skepticism. Lily, despite the goodwill surrounding her discovery, was an enigma that stirred unease. Her clothes, threadbare and dirt-stained, spoke volumes of neglect that resonated with some and sparked skepticism in others. "Why should we help her?" grumbled one elder at the corner store, his voice thick with disdain. "She needs to earn her keep like the rest of us." Others shrugged, dismissing her plight while gathering supplies for donation drives, a stark reminder of the sting of economic bias even in such a united front. Jake decided he would dive into Lily's world, determined to uncover her past. He learned quickly that this sweet girl wasn't just a lost soul. She was the daughter of someone who once shared a piece of his own life, a woman he'd cared for, but her struggles buried under layers of secrets long ago. Memories of a turbulent time flashed before him. Silent dinners, guilt hanging in the air, whispers of shame. It pained him to recognize the lineage of neglect that bonded them. There was fire in Jake now, a desire to break the cycle. But his attempts to secure a safe haven for Lily were met with resistance. Lively debates turned to heated arguments among neighbors. Some rallied behind him, inspired by what Jake represented: success, opportunity, hope. Others clung fervently to their biases, branding Lily as unworthy. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue heart-pounding. Jake stood before the townsfolk at a community meeting, every person's gaze fixed on him. "I stood before you years ago, struggling, with my family doing their best to make ends meet," he said, his voice breaking slightly. "What does it take to belong? Isn't it worth giving Lily a second chance? A future?" Murmurs echoed through the room. They were wrestling with the heaviness of truth and legacy, acceptance and bias. Just as the mood shifted, an unsettling revelation struck the crowd. Lily's origins were entwined with a dark history that would challenge everything Jake believed about his purpose here. The atmosphere shifted from hope to doubt, leaving the community poised on the brink of a decision that could redefine their sense of compassion, and Jake stood ready to fight for a girl he'd never met, but had come to care for deeply. Would they unite for Lily, or succumb to fear and prejudice? The room was thick with tension, an almost palpable silence pressing down on them all. Jake felt every heartbeat resonating as he glanced around, catching the shifting expressions of his neighbors. Some were crossing their arms, brows furrowed in skepticism, while others looked towards him with hesitant hope. It was a reflection of their past, the way Maplewood used to embrace every single soul that passed through, but now, it seemed, that warmth was fading. As many of you know, Lily's mother Jake struggled to find the words. The truth felt like a hot stone in his throat. She was a part of this community. She faced battles we can't imagine, and those battles led her into darkness. Jake could see the responses ripple through the crowd, whispers, worried glances exchanged. He wanted them to understand that abandonment didn't just trail through bloodlines. It came from years of being beaten down by circumstances, by judgment. One voice rose from the back, sharp and angry. So, we're supposed to just ignore what she might be? What has to stop her from being like her mother? That legacy taints us all. The speaker, an older gentleman, was met with murmurs of agreement. Frustration surged in Jake, but he fought to stay calm. No, it's not about ignoring. It's about understanding. We are not defined by the past mistakes of those we love or those we come from. His own voice softened as he shifted, trying to reach their hearts. Remember when we gave that second chance to young Timmy after his family was lost in that fire? Look at him, now he's thriving. What if we could do that for Lily? A young woman near the front, her eyes bright and curious, spoke up. But Timmy had support. He had people who loved him to help him recover. Lily, her voice trailed off, leaving a haunting silence that filled the room. We have to be those people, Jake replied, his heart racing. If Maplewood turns its back on her, what message do we send? That we are quick to judge and slow to love. What if we're the reason she can't overcome her past? As the words hung in the air, each face began to soften, caught between fear and the instinct to care. Jake could see conflicting emotions playing across their features. They were grappling, searching for an answer that felt right in their hearts. Just when hesitation was poised to give way to acceptance, an unexpected interruption echoed through the hall. The door burst open, and a breathless figure stumbled in the mayor, breathless and wide-eyed, carrying a tattered envelope.
Jake,
you need to see this. The room turned its attention to the mayor, uncertainty flaring once more. It's about Lily, it's not just her past, he continued, glancing nervously at the suspicious faces surrounding him. It's who she is now, and what's coming for her. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What could possibly complicate this situation further? A heartbeat of apprehension danced in the air, and all eyes turned to him, awaiting the revelation that could shatter or save everything they had just begun to define. Unbeknownst to them all, the true essence of Lily's story was yet to unfold, containing layers of hope, desperation, and the possibility of healing. Would they heed the call for compassion? Jake held his breath, bracing for the storm that was about to lift the veil on everything he believed. As the mayor stepped forward, the envelope clutched tightly in his hand. The room held its breath. The tense energy was like a live wire, visible in the way Jake's fingers twitched at his sides. He wanted to reach out for the mayor, to pull that envelope right from him, but he forced himself to stay still. What is it? Jake asked, his voice a brittle whisper. The mayor inhaled sharply, glancing around the room as if searching for a proper anchor amidst the sea of faces staring back at him. This was delivered to my office early today. It contains information about Lily that, well, it changes everything. Jake felt a wave of dread wash over him. He couldn't be sure if it was a wave heading for destruction or a tide of hope. Nervous glances flitted around the room. Some people leaned forward, eager for answers, while others shrank back, unwilling to face what might be uncovered. With a slow, deliberate motion, the mayor opened the envelope, revealing a stack of official-looking papers. I never thought I'd see something like this. The last known custody document regarding Lily, and this he held up a single page. Tapping it for emphasis, is a letter from her mother. A gasp echoed from the crowd, their collective breath caught in unison. Jake's heart raced. What does it say? He urged, the words barely escaping his lips. The mayor looked down, clearing his throat before he began to read. Dear, whoever finds this, he recited, by the time you read this, I'll be lost to my demons. But my daughter, Lily, she is innocent. She deserves better than what I could give her. Please, if you're reading this, don't let my past define her. Help her find a home. Help her see the light. The weight of the words hung heavily in the air. Shock morphed into sorrow, and Jake could see the flickering emotions on each face, the plight of a mother's love sheltered behind protective walls, now exposed in the harsh light of truth. Lily's name echoed through Jake's mind as he connected the dots of fear and hope. The anger that had filled the room earlier took on a different shade now. She's not just the ghost of her mother, Jake said softly, more to himself than anyone else. She's a little girl. She deserves our kindness. The older gentleman, who had questioned Jake earlier, looked downcast. "But what if," he began, only to stop when the mayor held up another piece of paper. "There's more," he announced, and the crowd stirred, anticipation punctuating the air. There's an inheritance. Lily's mother had financial resources that she never got the chance to pass on to her. This letter includes a trust fund, a real safety net. The murmurs stirred like fallen leaves, shifting from doubt to a cautious hope. Jake could feel the tide turning, but one question lingered. Would it be enough to pave a new path for Lily? The mayor continued, "In light of her mother's wishes, this community has the chance to collectively embrace her future, but we must choose to do it together." The room seemed to hold its breath, each person wrestling with their own internal conflict. It was a moment that teetered on the edge, a pivotal moment of choice. As Jake scanned the faces, he searched for signs of agreement, a flicker of unity forming in the cracks of the earlier resistance. Would Maplewood find the strength to stand together, to break the cycle of fear and rejection? "Will we let Lily in?" he asked, his heart pounding in his chest, echoing the fervent hope that swirled in the room. Just as a few hands reached out, ready to step forward, the door creaked open again. The figure of a young girl appeared, timid and uncertain, her wide eyes searching the room. "Are you my family?" she asked softly, the question cutting through the clamor like a knife. Jake's heart lurched. The moment of truth hung high in the air. Could they really become the family Lily needed? Jake felt the air shift as all eyes turned towards the little girl standing in the doorway. Her long, tangled hair framed a face that radiated innocence, but it was the fragility in her voice that sent a chill down his spine. "Are you my family?" she repeated, taking a tentative step into the room, uncertainty written clear on her small features. The mayor appeared momentarily frozen, caught between the weight of the letter and the girl's earnest gaze. "Lily, is that really you?" he finally managed, his voice cracking with disbelief. She nodded, drawing hesitant looks from the crowd. A few people gasped at the name, as if the syllables held a spell. Jake could see the wheels turning in their minds. This was real, this was Lily, the girl they had hesitated to accept. "Come here, sweetheart," the mayor said, his voice more gentle now. The tension in the room thawed slightly, leading the way for an unexpected connection. As Lily approached, Jake's heart raced. The distance between them felt insurmountable, yet something pulled him forward, a desire to protect her, to offer her the love and safety she had been denied. "Are you really going to let me in?" she asked again, her voice trembling with hope. Jake noticed how her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her dress, and he felt an ache rise in his chest. The mayor knelt down to her level. "Lily, you're not alone. We're going to take care of you, just like your mother wanted." His words hung in the air, weighted with the promise of a new beginning. Jake watched as a few community members, emboldened by the mayor's affirmation, began to step forward. "We're here for you, Lily," one woman said, her eyes shimmering. "You'll have a home with us." Jake felt an overwhelming surge of emotion. This was the moment they needed. This was the chance for redemption, not just for Lily, but for the entire town, to be a family united under a cause greater than themselves. But even as the warmth spread, a whisper of doubt tugged at his mind. What if they failed her? Would they truly step up in the long run? Suddenly, a harsh voice pierced the tender moment. "And what makes you think you can care for her?" The older gentleman's tone dripped with skepticism, cutting through the budding sense of hope. Jake remembered how quick he had been to judge, but this was different. "We can't let fear drive our decisions any longer," he interjected, standing tall. "Lily deserves a chance." The room simmered with tension, each breath taken in the shadows of uncertainty. Lily watched, wide-eyed, at the growing clash before her. Jake felt her vulnerability radiate through the room. In that instant, he knelt beside her. "It's okay, Lily. You're safe here," he whispered, trying to communicate with her that she could trust him. The mayor stood up, silencing the murmurs. "Let us vote," he declared, his voice steady and authoritative. "We owe it to Lily to make a decision right now, together." Jake held his breath. The outcome felt monumental, as if the very fabric of their community hinged on this moment. Would Maplewood reveal its heart or succumb to its fears? As the community members grouped together to cast their votes, a tension-filled silence enveloped the room. Jake glanced back at Lily, and he could see a flicker of hope in her eyes. But would it last? And just when Jake thought they were on the verge of agreement, the door burst open again, and a woman stormed in, her face set with fury. "You can't just decide her fate without me," she shouted. All eyes turned to her, and Jake's stomach dropped. Who was she, and what did she want? The stakes were suddenly higher, and the fragile moment of unity threatened to shatter. The woman stood there, her chest heaving with indignation. Her hair was a mess, much like her emotions, and Jake could see the glimmer of tears threatening to spill. "You can't just assume you know what's best for her," she yelled, her voice trembling on the edge of rage. The intensity in the room surged again, overriding the delicate bond that had begun to form. The mayor straightened, his brow furrowed. "And you are?" he asked, trying to maintain authority while his eyes traced her disheveled appearance. She seemed almost too chaotic to belong in this moment of hope. "I'm Sarah," she replied, catching her breath as she scanned the crowd, everyone from the skeptical old man to the softened woman who had stepped forward for Lily. "I know Lily. She's my sister." A murmur rippled through the room. Jake could practically feel Lily shrink beside him, uncertainty flickering across her features. She seemed to withdraw into herself, and Jake felt a pang of regret for how this revelation could unravel everything they had just started to build. "What do you mean, your sister?" Jake interjected, urgency filling his voice. "We've been told Lily has no living relatives." "No living relatives that they would acknowledge," Sarah shot back, her eyes welling with defiance. "They thought they'd buried the truth along with my parents." Her voice quivered now, but there was a fire in her that ignited something in the room. "And yes, I've been away, but I came back to find her." The mayor blinked in surprise, clearly taken aback. The others shifted uneasily, their strong resolve shattering like glass under the weight of her words. "How do we know you're telling the truth?" One man called out, skepticism still gripping the air. "This was not over yet. Ask her." Sarah's voice broke with emotion. "Lily, do you remember me?" Jake's heart raced as he glanced at Lily, who stood frozen, her young face a portrait of confusion. "I don't know," came the barely audible response. Her innocent eyes darted between Jake and Sarah, pleading for answers, for someone to make sense of this chaos. Sarah took a step forward, her voice softening. "When we were small, we used to play in the woods together. I promised I'd never leave you behind." Lily's gaze softened, darkness lifting ever so slightly from her heart. "But you were gone for a long time," she said, her voice trembling. "I know, and I'm so sorry," Sarah said, tears slipping down her cheeks now. "But I'm here. I'm back. I want to let you go again." The room fell into a heavy silence. Everyone's eyes were locked on the emotional exchange, the truth finally cracking through the layers of doubt and fear. Jake felt a swell of anger mixed with protectiveness. It wasn't just that Sarah's actions were questionable, it was the potential danger it posed to Lily at such a critical moment. "We need to be cautious," Jake said, standing up, facing Sarah as she wiped her tears away. "We can't just hand her over without getting the full story." "But she is my family," Sarah exclaimed, desperation flooding her voice. The crowd began to murmur again, unsure of what path to take. Heartbeats echoed like drums in the stillness, uncertainty mingling heavily with a hope that had been ignited just moments before. Jake's instincts screamed at him, the wavering tides of trust and safety testing him in every possible way. Lily stared at Sarah, a lifetime of lost moments painted in her expression, and Jake's resolve grew stronger. "This is her decision," he said firmly. "Lily deserves to choose her path, not have it chosen for her." But would Lily be strong enough to make that choice? As the tension lingered, Jake could practically feel the ground shifting beneath them all, and with each breath, the weight of a forthcoming decision hung in the air, a crucial moment that could either heal or destroy. Would Lily find the courage to embrace the sister she barely remembered, or would fear hold her back at this fork in the road? The answer loomed just beyond their reach. The unease in the room was palpable. Jake watched as the crowd struggled to process Sarah's revelation. Some faces brightened with hope while others twisted in doubt. It felt like time had slowed, every heartbeat echoing in the hushed silence. Lily's eyes stayed on Sarah, searching for clarity, connection, something to hold onto amidst the chaos. Sarah took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she reached out, bridging the gap between her and her sister. "I can prove it, Lily. We can go to Mom's South Old Place. I've kept everything pictures, things we used to play with. You'll remember," she implored, her voice almost a whisper now, each word laced with desperation. "But what if it's not true?" Lily finally spoke up, her voice quaking. "What if you're just saying this to take me away?" Fear crept into her tone, and Jake felt the weight of her uncertainty. He wanted to scoop her up and shield her from this confrontation, but he knew she had to face it. "We're not trying to take you anywhere, Lily," Jake interjected, trying his best to soothe the rising tide of turmoil. "You have the right to know the truth about your family, but it has to be done with care. We can go together, if that's what you want," he offered, hoping to balance the scales of Sarah's fervor with a gentle hand. Sarah cast a furtive glance at Jake, appreciating his support but also sensing an invisible wall. "I came back for you, Lily," she said again, her voice thick with emotion. "I want to be part of your life, not take you away from it. I promise I'll protect you, just like I always wanted to." Lily crossed her arms tightly across her chest, her body language oozing tension. "I don't even know you," she whispered, vulnerable as the finality of her words sunk into the hearts of everyone present. A heavy silence fell again, aborting the brimming hopes and dreams. Each adult felt the collective weight of their shared responsibility. Was Sarah truly a sister returning to redeem lost time, or was she simply a stranger hiding her own pain behind a familiar name? Just as the crowd began shifting restlessly, the mayor finally spoke, his authority regained. "We cannot rush this. Lily, you have the right to take your time, to think over what you feel." He paused, looking over at Sarah. "But if you're genuine, you'll give her the space she needs." Tears streamed down Sarah's face again. "I will wait. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll be here when you're ready, Lily," she vowed, her voice raw with a mix of hope and despair. Jake glanced at Lily, anticipation bursting within him. He wanted to protect her, but he also knew this could be her moment to grasp what she desired. "What do you want, Lily?" he asked softly, bending his knee to meet her gaze. Lily looked torn. "I feel mixed up," she admitted, biting her lip. "What if I can't remember?" "You can take it slow," Jake reminded her. "You are not alone in this." The crowd hung on her unmoving silence, a heartbeat away from a breakthrough or a breakdown. Could this be the moment where lost family ties could be reshaped? Or was it a masquerade that would close the door again? With each passing second, the air thickened with questions waiting to be answered, and Jake held his breath, wondering if Lily was finally ready to take control of her own destiny. What would she choose in a moment that felt so monumental? As the gathering watched, hope tangled with fear, criticism mixed with encouragement. Yet one thing remained, clear: this was far from over. Would Lily find the courage to face the memories that may have lain dormant for too long? The hall was still, the tension electrified, and Jake felt the weight of Lily's decision pressing down on them all. Each pair of eyes awaited her response, like a starved crowd craving a single morsel of hope. Lily appeared lost in her thoughts, her gaze dropping to the floor. "Maybe," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe I do want to see the house." The words barely slipped from her lips, but they ignited a spark amongst the spectators. A wave of anxious excitement rippled through the crowd. Jake leaned closer, his heart racing. "Are you sure?" he asked, the question heavy with intensity. "You don't have to rush. We can take our time." Lily looked up, her eyes meeting his, swirling with a mixture of fear and determination. "I want to know. I need to know if it's true. I want to remember." A soft murmur of support rose from the audience, some nodding, others whispering reassurances. Sarah stepped forward again, her face a canvas of hope mixed with fear. Thank you, Lily. I promise you won't regret it. We can take it one step at a time. I'll be right there with you. Jake felt a pang of anxiety. The past held shadows that could deepen into scars. Memories weren't always what they seemed after all. But he pushed those doubts aside, his focus sharpening on Lily. Let us do it together. We can go tomorrow. Just us three. Lily nodded slightly, her resolve growing. Tomorrow. The word hung in the air, brimming with possibilities and fears. As the crowd began to disperse, a mother with a small child approached, her concern palpable. Are you sure you want this, Lily? She asked gently. Family can be complicated. It can hurt. Jake watched Lily as she absorbed the woman's words. For a brief moment, he saw a flicker of doubt cross her features. But then, her expression hardened with determination. I can't keep running from it. I want to know about my past, about who I really am. Good for you, the woman said with a nod. Just remember, you're in control. It's your story to tell. Lily smiled faintly, her resolve crystallizing. It was as if a window had opened just a crack, and a gentle breeze stirred the air. But Jake observed as Sarah took a step back, the clash of emotions visible on her face. Was this the right path for Lily? Or was it a journey fraught with unexpected heartache? As they left the hall, Jake stole a glance at Sarah. You okay? He asked quietly, genuinely concerned for her. I feel like I've finally stepped into the light, she said, hesitating. But I worry. What if Lily finds something she wished she hadn't? Then we'll face it together. No matter what comes, we'll be there for her, Jake vowed, trying to reassure them both. Side by side, they walked into the uncertain night. The chill of the air wrapped around them, but a spark of warmth flickered beneath the surface. Answers lay ahead, fragile yet electrifying. Yet, as the moon cast its glow on the path ahead, a shadow shifted in the distance. Someone watched from the edge of the woods. The figure was cloaked and still, shrouded in mystery. What else lay hidden in the folds of their past? Would tomorrow bring revelations, or deeper mysteries instead? The morning light filtered through the trees, casting dappled patterns on the ground as Jake, Lily, and Sarah approached the old house. Each step felt heavier than the last, and with every inch they closed in, the air thickened with a combination of hope and apprehension. Jake could feel his heart pounding in his chest, the rhythm echoing his own fears. Are you ready? He asked, glancing at Lily. She stood at the edge of the property, her hands fidgeting nervously. A light breeze tousled her hair, but she held her chin high, determination glazing her eyes. I think so, she breathed, doubt flickering across her face for just a moment before she squared her shoulders. I need to do this. Sarah reached out, giving Lily's back a gentle, reassuring rub. We're with you. Every step, she said, her voice steady and calm. Just breathe. The words seemed to anchor them in the present, easing the weight of memories unspoken. As they crossed the threshold, the house loomed before them, a relic of a time long past. The wooden porch creaked underfoot, the sounds echoing like whispers from forgotten days. Sunshine spilled into the foyer, illuminating dust particles dancing in the air. Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into a memory, not just a house. Lily paused, her gaze sweeping across the rooms, taking in peeling wallpaper, faded photographs, and the scent of something sweet and stale. This place, it feels alive, she whispered, stepping further inside. Every corner was a silent witness to the past ghosts living in the cracks of old wood and dusty furniture. Jake followed closely behind, his protective instinct kicking in. He wanted to shield her, yet he knew this was her moment to uncover truths. As they wandered into the living room, a chill ran up Jake's spine. He spotted a cracked mirror adorned with elaborate carvings. In it, he caught a glimpse of Lily's reflection, a mix of curiosity and lingering fear. What do you see? He asked softly. I can't tell yet, she replied, biting her lip as she approached the mirror. Her fingers skimmed over the wooden frame, as if trying to glean answers from every groove. Sarah knelt beside an old trunk in the corner of the room. "Look at this," she said, pulling it open. Inside were letters tied with string, their edges yellowed, as if they had waited just for her. "Maybe these can help." Lily joined her, kneeling beside the trunk, and tentatively reached for a letter. As she unraveled the string, Jake held his breath. Each envelope contained fragments of lives intertwined, bits of joy, anger, confusion, a tapestry of emotions laid bare. "What if it's not what I want to hear?" Lily's voice faltered, a crack betraying her resolve. Jake could see the tempest raging within her, torn between the need for truth and the fear of pain. "You won't know unless you read it," Jake urged gently, kneeling next to her. "And whatever it is, you won't face it alone." With trembling hands, Lily pulled a letter free. As she opened it, Jake's heart raced, knowing this was the moment that could alter everything. The words, once released, danced in the air, a quiet storm waiting to be weathered. Suddenly, the door creaked, sending a shiver down their spines. They turned as the wind blew the door wide open. A figure stood silhouetted against the bright light outside, their face obscured. "You shouldn't be here." The voice was gravelly, filled with warning. Jake's stomach twisted in a knot. Who was this new presence? And what secrets did they hold? Fear gripped him, and he glanced at Lily, who stared back, eyes wide as saucers. Would the past they sought lead them to answers, or would it only deepen the shadows looming at the door? Jake felt the tremor in the air shift as the figure stepped forward, breaking the tense silence of the moment. The sun spilled across the threshold, illuminating the outline of an older man, face lined with years of worry and regret. His clothes were worn, and the expression in his eyes danced between anger and something resembling sorrow. "Who are you?" Jake managed to ask, his voice steady, though he felt his heart racing in response to the fear and uncertainty hanging thick in the air. I'm the owner of this place," the man replied, each word laced with an edge. "And you have no business here." Lily stood frozen beside the trunk, the half-open letter trembling in her grasp. Her earlier determination faltered under the weight of this unexpected confrontation. Jake took a step closer to her, instinctively positioning himself as a barrier between her and the stranger. "We just wanted to understand." Lily finally found her voice, her words a mere whisper as she took a step forward.
"To know the truth about what happened."
The man's expression softened slightly, perhaps recognizing the grief mirrored in her eyes. "You don't know what you're asking for," he said, his voice lowering, almost a plea. "This house holds more than just memories. It holds secrets that are best left buried." Jake's heart sank as he sensed the turmoil brewing within the man. This was no ordinary trespasser trying to protect property. He was a person bearing the weight of a long-buried past. "We need to hear it," Jake said firmly, surprising even himself with the conviction behind his words. "Lily deserves to know." At that, the man's defenses faltered further, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his face. His eyes darted between Jake and Lily, and for a moment, the world around them seemed to shrink, leaving just this makeshift circle of confrontation. "Is this about her?" The man's voice cracked, revealing a deep current of pain beneath his stern demeanor. Lily stepped closer, her heart aching for the man's struggle, and yet she felt the pull of her own quest for truth. "If it is, I want to know," she said, her voice steady now, laced with an unyielding sense of purpose. The man sighed, a heavy sound filled with resignation. He ran a hand through his hair, glancing at the dusty corners of the room as if the walls themselves had ears. "You might not like what you find," he warned. "What you search for might lead you down paths of heartache." "But the unknown is scarier than the pain itself," Lily replied quietly, an unexpected strength anchored in her resolve. "If it's part of my story, I need to face it." The man hesitated, glancing back at the letters scattered across the trunk. A silent battle unfolded in his gaze, and then something shifted. He seemed to realize there was no turning back. "Fine," he said finally, voice cracking with emotion. "But once you hear it, there's no unknowing it." As he stepped forward, the door creaked shut behind him, locking them in a chamber where shadows would soon spill out their secrets. Jake glanced at Lily, who nodded firmly. They were ready, even if the truth might hurt. Before he could voice the question lingering in his mind, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, reverberating through the house like a thunderclap. They all turned towards the sound, anxiety flooding back. "What was that?" Sarah exclaimed, her eyes wide with shock. The stranger looked pale, the color draining from his face. "We should check," he said, though the hesitance in his voice suggested he knew they might not be alone. Jake exchanged glances with Lily and Sarah, fear creeping back into the mix of emotions swirling between them. What else lay hidden in this old house, and who or what had just made itself known? As they moved cautiously toward the unknown, the weight of the past and the uncertainty of the present tangled together, creating a gravitational pull that none of them could escape. Would they find more than they expected? Would the truth bring them closer, or tear them apart? Jake, Lily, Sarah, and the man stepped cautiously into the kitchen, each heartbeat echoing the weight of the moment. The old wooden floor creaked beneath their feet, the energy crackling with anticipation. With every step closer to the source of the noise, Jake felt the tension rise, his instincts screaming that they were about to board a roller coaster of truth that could change everything. The kitchen was filled with an air of neglect, dishes strewn in the sink, dust gathering on countertops. But there, amidst the clutter, lay a shattered vase, pieces glinting like fallen stars across the tile floor. Yet, as they surveyed the room, Jake's gaze locked on a shadow flickering past the window, sending a chill racing down his spine. "What was that?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible. The man turned pale, his eyes darting toward the door as if expecting someone to charge in. "It's best if we don't linger here too long," he warned, trying to rein in the panic surging around them. "I need to know what's really happening here," Lily declared, her small frame standing defiantly. Jake admired her courage. She had become a beacon of strength, searching for light amidst the chaos. Suddenly, a soft voice emerged from the shadows, wrapping around their hearts like a gentle hug. "Lily?" It was faint, like a ghostly echo but laced with love. Everyone froze, disbelief spreading through the room. "Who's there?" Jake called out, straining to see into the shifting light. The figure stepped forward, a young girl, with kind eyes and an aura of familiarity. Jake's heart lurched as he recognized the resemblance in her features. She could be Lily's mirror, an uncanny reflection her sister, perhaps? Lily's mouth dropped open. "Are you?" "I'm Mia," the girl replied, a soft smile playing on her lips, glistening with warmth despite the unease. "I've been waiting for you." "What do you mean waiting?" Sarah asked, stepping protectively closer to Lily. "I'm here to guide you, to help you uncover the truth." Mia's voice carried a calm that washed over Jake. "There's so much you don't know about our family, about why you were separated." Tears welled in Lily's eyes. "Why didn't anyone tell me about you?" "Because some truths are buried deep, hidden to protect you from pain," Mia explained, her expression turning somber. "But that doesn't mean you don't have the right to know." Despite the warmth emanating from Mia, Jake remained guarded. He couldn't shake the nagging feeling that the presence before them was more than a messenger of hope. She was a crucial piece of a much larger puzzle. "What kind of truth?" Jake pressed. "We need to understand before we jump into anything." "I can show you," Mia replied, taking a step closer, her voice wavering with honesty. "But be warned, the truth isn't always easy. It can hold both love and loss." Lily hesitated, her heart pounding. "I want to know. I need to know." Mia smiled, and for a brief moment, Jake felt a glimmer of encouragement. Together, they stepped into the living room, where shadows danced against the walls like memories stirring awake. Mia brushed her hand over the letters in the old trunk. "These are a piece of our family letters and pictures that tell the stories our mother couldn't share. They weren't just about pain. They were filled with love, too." Lily reached for a letter, this time with steady fingers, while the others remained watchful. As she opened it, Teresa's writing spilled onto the page, a delicate spiral that carried the weight of a mother's heart. The air seemed to thicken with anticipation. "What does it say?" Sarah asked, leaning closer. Lily's eyes roamed the words, tears spilling over from her cheeks as she discovered stories written just for her. She missed us. She always loved us. Jake glanced at the man standing near the doorway, still cloaked in uncertainty. We deserve answers from you too, Jake said firmly, turning towards him. What did she mean to you? She was my sister, he admitted, voice heavy with regret. I thought I could shield her from our family's mistakes, but in doing so, I lost her, and now I've lost Lily too. The heaviness in the room began to lighten, like fog lifting to reveal a sunlit landscape. What if we can't reclaim those lost years? Sarah whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Reclaiming isn't the goal, Mia answered softly, her voice a bomb. Building a future is. You have the chance to rewrite your story together. Lily looked around at each of them, Jake, Sarah, the man who had once hidden away, and her heart swelled with a sense of belonging. I want to build that future, she declared, voice resolute. A tender hush fell over the group, and for the first time, there was unity, a shared recognition that they were on a path woven with love. Together, we can face anything, Jake added, feeling the warmth of hope igniting within him like a bright flame flickering against the darkness. I'll do everything to protect you. You're safe now, the man said, vulnerability breaking through his hard exterior. With shared purpose, they took steps toward the future, ready to embrace the challenges ahead. Jake could sense the strength building within them, a community knit together by purpose, love strengthened by acceptance, moving towards a brighter tomorrow. As they walked out of the house hand in hand, the shadows of the past receded. The sun rose high in the sky, painting their path with gold, illuminating their way forward together, reclaiming not just Lily, but a piece of themselves in the process. This was where healing began, not in forgetting, but in remembering, and in every step forward, they would honor those lost and welcome the journey ahead. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next incredible transformations. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and give the story the attention it deserves. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartfelt journey. Let us spread the joy and unity.